like about Nate Danielson?
Obviously, I mean, size, right shot centerman, real smart player, 200-foot player. He's a guy that, he plays in all situations. Last year, obviously, the West had some good draft eligibles. You go out, saw him as an underage as well. And, he just plays the game the right way. So real smart. His interview, impressive young man. The way he talks, the way he presents himself. We feel we have a player that's real passionate towards the game. So, another opportunity. Last year, obviously, we added Marco in the first round, a centerman, and this year we were able to add Nate. So it's trying to get some centers, trying to build through the middle, and it's another piece for us going forward.
Do you feel like they're similar, Marco and Nate?
I think they are. I think they're probably. I mean, one of the things that was interesting for us was Connor Bedard talking about in the West, Nate Danielson was one of the toughest players to play against. That kind of stands out at in an interview. So we were when we heard that was something that put a little smile on our face. So they and same thing with Marco. Obviously a very competitive player, very driven player, and we feel that Nate's kind of in that same mold as well. They don't cheat the game. They're responsible. They play the right way. It's a 200-foot game, and they have passion for the game. And like I said, the importance of trying to find centermen, trying to get them through the middle. The previous years before, we hadn't drafted centers, so this was an opportunity, and we were happy to get them.
With Axel, a right shot D-man, you used the pick that you got for Philip Warner. How important was it to find that in Axel?
You know what? It was important. I think it's to find the right shot D, and what we felt was that the right kind of right shot D. Obviously, we really like his hockey sense. We really like his poise with the puck. He was another impressive young man. The way he speaks. He was 17 years old. He played in the World Juniors. By the end of the tournament, he was running the power play, a big part of it. Saw him a lot in international play, playing for Team Sweden, the U18s on the silver medal, team. He, running a power play, and that was the thing that you just kind of kept coming back to is he's really smart. He knows how to manage the game. He knows how to manage the puck. He has deception with it, and he really moves well on the offensive blue line as well. So, we felt it was something that was important to bring into the prospect pool. We don't have a lot of right shot D-men either, so I think you look at, coming away from, the first round is, we added a centerman, happened to be a right shot centerman, which is great, and we added, a right shot defenseman too that we're excited to bring in.
When you look at the first round overall, was there anything that surprised you, just overall from tonight?
No, not really. I think, it's interesting on, you knew who was going, obviously, first overall, and then, there was talks of what was going to happen at 2 and 3, and, obviously one of our, a former teammate and a former colleague in Pat Verbeek, which way he was going to go, and, so it's just interesting for us to, kind of sit there and see how it played out, and, we just had to be, we had to be ready at pick 9, of who, we were going to get and what in what direction we were going to it. So we were able to do that. So it was, I think it's a pretty good prospect pool. There's obviously some very good names that got called tonight, and it's now tomorrow it starts. Obviously, we got 3 seconds in a row: 41, 42, 43. So we'll be busy right off the hop here tomorrow.
Kris, the rebuild depends so much on getting these picks right, especially in the first round. Steve kind of described it as it's hard to sleep, and you have to stop second guessing yourself at some point. You had Nate. You had Nate.
Well, it even makes it even tougher when he says that. So, you know what? He's there's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of dialogue. It's great for me to be able to have conversations with Stevie about players. Obviously, I know the direction that he wants to go. I know the importance of what we feel a prospect is, and we have great conversations with it. Probably the last 5-6 weeks of the season, I was able to go out west with him. We went out WHL playoffs. We were over in Europe together for 12 days, and you just sit there and you watch players and you talk hockey. And I understand the importance of what tonight is, and obviously the importance of what goes on tomorrow as well. We got it's not only about trying to make these picks work, but we got to do a good job in the second round. We got to try to find some sleepers and some hidden gems. That's really what it is. Some of these players we want to turn out better than what we thought, but it's important, but you just kind of sit there and you just trust the work that we put in. I mean, it basically starts, we're going to finish the draft tomorrow, and, July 31st, I'm back over for the Hlinka for the next crew. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So basically from the start of August, all the way up until, what we did today, that's the work. And sometimes for some of these players, it's even 2 years of watching these guys. So understand how important it is. It's great to be able to have conversations with Stevie. Like I said, we understand what we want a Detroit Red Wing prospect is. We understand how we want to play the game, and that obviously impacts the selections that we make.
Sandin Pellikka has a little bit of like a different maybe profile to some of the D you've drafted high the last few years. Was that something you were looking to do, or like a different flavor in there, or just the way it felt?
It's it's just kind of the way it goes. We kind of sit there and same thing at 9. There's 8 names that come off the board, and we're going to take our top name. We sat there and, you're kind of like looking and wondering if a couple of these players, might fall to us at 17 or however it's going to play out. And obviously at the time it was, it was Axel. And it's, like I said, he's a big piece of what we want. He's a piece of what we need. We feel he has, real good power play potential for a 17-year-old kid running the power play at the World Juniors, in a great environment in Halifax. We were there. We watched him a lot, and he just showed some obviously some uncanny composure for a 17-year-old kid. And he's got that that kind of that hidden swagger that you love about a D-man like that.
What do you feel Nate's kind of offensive upside? Obviously the point total wise plays on a team that wasn't like a playoff team there. How did you kind of weigh that?
From last year and also from this year, and then watching. There were times where he might come out with an assist or maybe 2 assists or 1 and 1, and honestly he probably made about 4 or 5 plays that easily a couple of them could have ended up in the back of the net, and they didn't. So the fact that he sees it, the fact that he can make some plays, that was something that we saw. So you just gotta for a situation like that, you just have to make sure that you're watching him, and you're watching in all kind of different situations. You're watching him in Brandon. You're watching him against other teams, and for the most part, he was overmatched. That was the one thing. It was obviously a team that struggled this year, but he just kind of kept playing and kept doing his thing, and that's something that you love to see. He, very easily could have got frustrated, could have been disappointed in some of these games, but he's a character kid, and he wants to lead by example for some of the younger players on his team, and that's what he did.
I talked to Craig Button about Sandin, and he said as much as he liked his offensive skill, he was really impressed with a decent one-on-one defender, like kind of a Zubov or Rapolsky type. You see that?
Oh, love those names. Yeah. You know what we did? Like, he's a smart player. He understands, what his strengths and what his weaknesses are. Obviously, he does have to get stronger. But he's so smart. He's always in good body position. He understands how to defend. And the one thing is, he's a competitive kid. He'll go back to pucks. He'll take hits. Doesn't shy away from that part of the game. So he is smart off the rush. I think there's a lot of times physically right now he might be a little overmatched, and he has to rely on obviously his footwork, his stick, and his mind. And I think that's how he defends right now, which is only going to help him as he gets a little bit stronger. But he's, like we said, he's we really like the savvy, we like the smartness, and he understands the position. He knows when to go, he knows when to stay back. He understands who he's playing against, and he was a guy that played in all situations in important games at World Juniors for a 17-year-old kid.
Thanks, Drapes.
Yep.